Hello, hello, my fellow creatives. Welcome, welcome. I am Imani the writer, and this is the Healing Creative Podcast, where I, a Black girl, take you along my healing journey. Feel free to join me. Today's topic: what do Black girls need to build confidence? I'm specifically talking about young Black girls, young women, kind of around like the teens, college girls, and young adults. You know what I mean? And I decided to talk about this. This podcast episode was inspired by a book that I'm currently reading called Empowered Black Girl by MJ Fear. I'm going to, I'm sorry, that was pathetic. I'm sorry, that was so pathetic. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm sorry. I should have looked it up before doing this podcast episode. I will link it in the description box below. Highly, 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 highly recommend. I've been listening to the audiobook while I'm on the train, and I wanted to share my own thoughts on some of the topics discussed in the book here, specifically when it comes to what do Black girls need in order to build the confidence they need to build. But first, let's talk about our creative updates. What sorts of things have I been up to? So I have been looking for ways to experiment with my content creation. I'm going to avoid talking about it too much, but essentially, because I want you guys to kind of just see it unfold. It's kind of just like a project. Like, how can I use the tools that I already have in my possession in new ways that I've never used them before, essentially? How can I use that to kind of streamline my content creation, as well as make new content that I've never made before as well? And I actually wanted to share a really, really great resource with you guys. For the first time, the Healing Creative Podcast is sponsored by Gling AI. Let me tell you about Gling AI. I probably have mentioned Gling AI before in previous episodes, but now for the first time, the Healing Creative Podcast is sponsored. So what is Gling AI? Gling AI is a program to assist you in your content creation journey. It's specifically designed for YouTubers. Okay. It uses an AI function in order to speed up the editing process. Spending hours upon hours upon hours of video editing used to be the biggest chore and the biggest hurdle I had to face when it comes to showing up consistently online, especially on YouTube. But now I'm able to do that. And that is 100% because of Gling AI. I have been using it ever since I started the podcast. It's the reason why the podcast is here, to be quite honest with you. And I recently had a streak. I have posted a podcast episode consistently every week for the past 11 weeks. That's never happened before. And that's because the Gling AI makes editing so much faster. It has features to allow the program to automatically cut out any awkward pauses, any verbal fluff, like when you say or like a lot. It can cut out what it defines as a bad takes or like mistakes. It can improve the audio quality. It can even suggest and give you ideas for B-roll. It can also have this zoom feature. I mainly use it for audio because mainly the podcast is audio. But if you use it for videos, which I plan to do in the future, it has this automatic zoom feature where it'll start picking moments throughout the video where it just zooms in slightly and zooms out. You know what I mean? That little thing to help get and keep your audience's attention and things like that. It does those things automatically, and all you have to do is play the video after it's gone through its changes and just double check to make sure you like what the program did. And if you don't, you can always make changes and fix things around. It also comes with some really cool features depending on which plan or which package you choose. Mine includes helping you generate chapters. It decides basically how to break up your video into different chapters. It gives you chapter titles. It gives you some ideas for titles for the video itself. It also automatically transcribes for you, and you can improve and double check and make changes in the transcription and then download it as an SRT file, upload that into YouTube with your video. And that is really, really helpful. It does help the algorithm a lot, gives it more information to help it find the best viewers for you. I highly, highly, highly recommend it. It's come in clutch. And like I said, I've been able to show up every single week for 11 weeks straight because of this program. Even though I have my full-time job, I'm able to batch, like if I take a weekend out to batch a bunch of content all at once and have several weeks free to do any planning, to brainstorm new ideas. It's so, so helpful, you guys. You've got to check it out. If you have some content creator dreams and you want to make it happen, Gling AI can help you, even if you are a full-time content creator, but especially if you work full-time and you've got these dreams, and you want to work towards them. Gling AI will come in clutch for you. It'll allow you to show up on the algorithm consistently and to help you chase those creator dreams. Check it out. Use the link in the description box below to help out. It will really, really support the podcast if you do. And let me know. Let me know if you use it and how it's been helpful for you. But okay. That's our creative updates. Let's get into today's episode. According to the author of the book I mentioned, Empowered Black Girl, according to MJ, there are 4 kinds of affirmations that Black girls need to use to build confidence. 4 kinds. First one, affirmations to help you recognize your inner beauty. Next, affirmations to help you embrace your Black body. Third, affirmations to celebrate collective Black identities. And 4, affirmations to celebrate your strengths. I wrote that down like a mad woman. I scrambling in the train to find like a notebook or whatever to write that down because I was like, oh my gosh, that is brilliant. I absolutely love that. I love that. I love that. So I want to dive into that a little bit to talk about what I think about this idea. So the first one, recognize your inner beauty. Yes, yes, yes. I 100% believe that every Black girl, every person, honestly, but every Black girl especially, definitely needs to have affirmations and or empathy letters. Links in the description box below for the empathy letter worksheet. Qualities that make you a wonderful, wonderful person. Not just focusing on how you look, but focusing on your actual character. How you show up for loved ones, how you show up for yourself, and the ways in which you make other people feel amazing and wonderful. How you care deeply for people. How you care deeply for places and things and causes that matter to you. 100% we definitely need to take a minute to just recognize that we are wonderful, wonderful people. The next one, affirmations to embrace your Black body, 100%. I believe that we definitely have to look at ourselves and intentionally see that we are beautiful. Intentionally see the beauty that is our Black bodies. See the beauty in the parts of us, especially the parts of us that are not in alignment with the conventional beauty standards. It's important to have that intention. Very, very, very important. Because society is not going to validate those parts of you. You have to validate those parts of yourselves. And you need to showcase them with confidence. I think affirmations where we intentionally see the beauty in all of us, the different parts of us, but also the whole, are very, very important. And it's also important to surround yourself with people who are going to lift those parts of us up as well. The parts of us that are not in alignment with the conventional beauty standards. Don't have people around you that are going to make you feel like shit for the ways in which you're different. You know what I mean? Find the people who will celebrate the beauty that is your uniqueness. It's so, so important. The third one, celebrate collective Black identities. I kind of have my own unique perspective on this. It's a little bit different than what's in the book, but I think that celebrating collective Black identities means seeing what it is that makes Black people beautiful. Look for things that you admire about the Black community and our character, especially when it comes to Black women and girls. You know what I mean? Look for the things that we do that you love, the things that we create that you love. There's so much creativity in the Black community. And there's just like, I think that's kind of what we're talking about, like our collective Black identities across the diaspora. There's so much creativity. Also, look for the things you yourself absolutely love about being Black. You know, Black people are not a monolith. Sometimes we probably, I don't know, but I'll speak for myself. I know that there are times where you may feel that you don't necessarily fit in with other Black people, and that may have had an impact on your connection to Black culture. To heal that connection, I think it's very important for you to ask yourself what you yourself love about being Black. Challenge yourself to answer the question honestly, even if that's difficult for you right now. Challenge yourself to answer the question honestly. Look at yourself in the mirror and point out things you love about your appearance. Look at yourself inwardly and look at your community and look for the things you admire about our community, the things you admire about our culture, the things you admire about the way we create and the way we show love and the way we encapsulate joy and spread it throughout the world. Look for the things you love about being Black. But yeah, I think this is especially helpful for people who have felt detached from their Black identity. If they grew up being called things like an Oreo, or that they were white even though they're clearly not, or told that they weren't Black enough. Celebrate the things you love about your identity. Celebrate the things you admire about Black culture, and intentionally. And be loud about it. You know what I mean? Talk about these things so that any loser that has the audacity to question your Blackness looks like an idiot, because you are like, you show up and you're just like, no, I am Black and I am proud, because there is so much to be proud of. There's so much that I love about us. There's so much that I love about Black joy, about Black creativity, about the way we create homes and the way we make each other feel at home, the way we connect. There's so much that I admire about Black people and Black culture. There's so much that I embrace about my own Blackness. You look like an absolute imbecile questioning my Blackness, questioning my love and my devotion to the Black community, because it's part of who I am. You're just able to kind of brush that off a lot quicker. Like, you're not free. A person who says things like that, you're just not free. You yourself are operating as if being Black just means checking off enough stereotype boxes, being as closest to the stereotype as possible. You're not free, but I am free. And I refuse to operate that way. But yeah, I think that's really, really important. I don't think we touched on that too much in the book, or as far as I've gotten into it. But that's kind of my interpretation of needing those specific kinds of affirmations. The next one, celebrate your strengths. Of course, we need to recognize our wins more, man. We need to recognize our wins more, the things that we're good at. Celebrate your talents and be grateful for them. Thank God I am me. Thank God I have the ability to do the things that I do. Thank God I have the qualities that I have and the values that I have, and that I get to enjoy that, because those are blessings. Your strengths are blessings. Your talents are blessings. And take a minute to acknowledge them. Take a minute to acknowledge them. It's so important. So that's how I feel about the author's idea. Do I think that the author left anything out? A couple of things. I think that Black girls, young Black girls, need affirmations that show empathy to the parts of us that we don't feel confident in. I think that can be like, specifically towards our physical appearance, but also our emotions, you know what I mean? And the things that have happened to us, It's important that we acknowledge and validate our feelings first and then reframe. And we have to show ourselves patience for where we currently are. We need affirmations that do that, while also letting us know what the next small steps are towards our goals, towards self-love, towards self-acceptance. That's what we need too. We also need those things as well. I also want to continue this conversation by reflecting on what the things were that I needed as a Black girl to build my confidence, and how do I fulfill some of those needs now as a woman. So when we talk about the things that I needed, first I want to talk about the needs that were fulfilled, and then the needs that weren't, and how I fulfill those needs for myself now in my womanhood. in my adulthood. First and foremost, the needs that were fulfilled. One, consistent care from caregivers. That is so helpful, I feel, to my confidence. Having people that show up for you in your life consistently, no matter what, is very encouraging for your self-worth. Growing up, my father showed up consistently with the stability part, like the provider type of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like showing up to make sure that I had the stability that I needed to learn and to grow, for sure. I would say that my mom, she was very consistent with a lot of verbal praise and encouragement, which is so unique and interesting because when I think of the kind of partner that I want to attract, I want someone who has both of those qualities that I admire from my parents. I want a man that can come into the relationship just very solid and with a lot of stability and continuity, while at the same time verbally expressing lots of praise and lots of admiration and appreciation and encouragement. That's the kind of thing that I'd like to receive from a partner. And it's also what I'd like to give. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't necessarily say that I'm looking to be a provider for my partner in that sort of sense, but I do mean I want to be a consistent place that my partner can rely on, just like he is a consistent person that I can rely on as well. I want to be a collaborator. That's what I think that what I mean by stability. I don't necessarily need my partner to provide for me in the way that my dad did, but to show up as a good financial collaborator with me. I want to be that way for him as well so that we can collaborate and make both of our lives better and enrich both of our lives together. And I want that to be a stable and consistent thing. I want us to collaborate together to create a stable and consistent home that we both feel comfortable in, where we both can live, where we both can grow, where we both can be at peace. That's very important for me, that stability. And I also want to give that verbal praise and that verbal admiration and appreciation and encouragement. I think that that's so lovely that my parents kind of inspired that desire within me to give that to another while also receiving that in return. That's so interesting and that's so lovely. Thanks, Mom and Dad. I'm very lucky that these were needs that were fulfilled because I'm aware that that's not the case for everybody. And if that's you, you're not alone. There is an opportunity here to provide that for yourself, to show up consistently for yourself, no matter what. I love me and I'm going to show up for me. I'm going to provide myself with stability in the best way that I can. Create a home for myself, create a soft place to land for myself that is peaceful, that is consistent, that is stable, and require that from my current loved ones around, that they can't come into my life to just disrupt things. You know what I mean? The ones that show up, they have to add to the stability and add to the joy and add to the peace that's already here. You can't show up, disrupt it, and then leave. I think that there's an opportunity there to acquire that from others. And that's something I need to do as well in my womanhood and in my adulthood, to create a home, to create a space, a soft space for me to land, and a structured, stable space for me to live and grow and do the things I need to do, But that was a need that was fulfilled. Another need that helped me build my confidence as a young Black girl was hobbies to keep me busy and happy. Having things to do that were fun to occupy my time, especially when those are hobbies, those skills and seeing your skills and your proficiencies increase and to see how you grew from point to point to point, I feel like it increases your happiness and also in your confidence in yourself because you actually see yourself growing. It also keeps you off the streets too. Because I had so many creative hobbies, I didn't really have much interest in running around and doing the most, you know what I mean? I think kids really, really need creative outlets or athletic outlets, things to do to occupy their minds and allow them to have fun in ways that are productive so that they're not just out in the streets and looking for entertainment and looking for love and looking for community in places that they're not going to find it, in places where they're going to find other things that they don't actually need to find. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm really, really grateful that I had these things growing up. Let's talk about a few needs that were not fulfilled or that were not always satisfied, and things that I needed to fulfill within myself. I think it would have been, this is me personally, I think it would have been better for my self-confidence if I personally have received more kindness, more verbal kindness and encouragement from Black men and boys growing up. My dad loves me very much, but he kind of sticks to he talks about the important stuff to make sure I'm stable and I'm okay. And I appreciate that, you know what I mean? And that in and of itself is an act of kindness for sure that I deeply, deeply appreciate. Other than that love that my dad showed, I don't think this is something I really experienced much, kindness, encouragement from Black men and boys, at least not until later on in life. I kind of wish I received that more in my childhood, because now that I'm in my adulthood, I don't know, because here's the thing, like, even if, like, you can't change and control how people treat you, but as a child, at the very least, I wish I would have been more prepared for that, for the kind of treatment that I would have received from Black boys. I wish I understood why it was happening to me and why they were behaving the ways that they were behaving, so that I knew not to take it so seriously, and I knew not to internalize it, and I knew not to take it to heart. I really did not come to understand what that was about until I was graduating college. Around the time that I graduated college, that I really started to understand why the Black boys were behaving the way that they do, what sorts of racial things were at play that impacted their behavior and caused them to treat Black women and girls, period, a certain kind of way. There's a certain level of misogyny in every culture, but I feel like I witnessed a lot of misogyny in general from Black boys, and definitely misogynoir towards Black girls, the uplifting of other races of women, or the uplifting of Black women who may have been mixed or things like that, the upliftment of anything and anyone but the Black woman, like the dark-skinned, monoracially Black woman, you know what I mean? And the closer you are to that paradigm, the more likely you were to be disrespected by them. And I didn't understand that growing up. I didn't understand why they were behaving the ways that they were towards the people that they were behaving that way towards the young girls that they were behaving that way towards. And I wish I did. I wish I was a little bit more prepared for that, so that I knew what it was and where it was coming from, instead of believing that it was happening because there was something wrong with me. I'm grateful that I've come to learn and to realize where that came from at the time that I did still, because there are Black women who are my senior, years and years and years older than me, that have still internalized these things to mean that there is something wrong with them, instead of really understanding the things at play that cause the Black men to just be lost in the ways that they have been when it comes to their own racial identity and how to communicate and collaborate and to relate to the people within their communities. I feel really bad for the Black women that are still in that place. So in some ways, I am just grateful that I even come to a place to understand what happened. And things are changing now. As I get older, that treatment is definitely changing. When I was a little bit, like a couple years ago, when I started sensing that shift, when I started noticing Black men being kinder to me in ways that I wasn't used to, I'm not gonna lie, it confused me and it kind of frustrated me, because I wasn't understanding what exactly changed. Like, the only things that, I guess the way I looked slightly changed, because I'm growing and getting older and coming into my own. And it's really, really hard for me to not interpret that as, oh, now I'm more conventionally attractive to you than I was before. Is that why you're now all of a sudden treating me with kindness? And it was kind of irritating to me, At first, I'm just like, oh, is that all it took for me to be worthy of basic level human kindness, is to be more conventionally attractive? Because I'm still not necessarily in alignment with the beauty standard, but I am, I guess, more so now than I was before. I don't know. That was very frustrating to me, and I was not in any position to receive it. But I've been working on it, and it's been slowly improving. And what I hope also is that maybe it's because I know that I've been growing and getting older and growing up. My hope is that the men have been also growing and growing up. You know what I mean? Maybe that's just what's happened. Maybe the men are growing up. Maybe they're recognizing that that behavior is wrong and they're choosing to be more kind. I'd like to believe that that's the case, or at least give it the benefit of the doubt is kind of my approach. And it's still a work in progress for me because I don't quite understand the switch up a little bit. I still don't quite understand it, but I feel good about reckoning with it in a way that's peaceful, in a way that's healing, in a way that's helpful, and that will allow me to connect with Black men and boys a little bit better than growing up, because I felt a little bit detached and disconnected and like I couldn't really get along with them at times. But now I feel like it's getting a little bit better. It's getting a little bit better day by day, and hopefully it continues to improve as I continue to kind of work on these feelings. Another need that I don't necessarily feel was always satisfied was having the space for uncomfy feelings. You know what I mean? Sometimes, because religion and spirituality is very important to a lot of members of the Black community. And so sometimes when you try to be vulnerable and open about the things that are bothering you, sometimes it's just hard to have an honest and real conversation because the response is automatically, well, give it to God. God has all the answers. God. And I'm just like, yes, absolutely. But I would still like to connect with you about this problem. And I just feel like right now you're kind of using God as a way to just shut me down. I feel a little bit rejected. I feel that my feelings are a bit rejected. And so the way that I've been fulfilling that need for myself, first and foremost, is with affirmations and empathy letter and making sure that I give myself a healthy amount of space to reckon with my own feelings and recognize that, I can be open and vulnerable with some people, others maybe struggle, and that's okay. You know what I mean? That's okay. I can still have close relationships with them, but just kind of just be mindful that maybe when it comes to certain issues, this person might not be the best person to talk to about the situation. But the point is, I have to give myself space now. That space wasn't always there for me as a kid, but I'm grown now and I can create that space for myself now. Another thing that I feel that Black women and girls need in order to build our confidence is a very explorative natural hair journey. And you can only truly give this to yourself. Nobody can really give this to you. There was a Patreon podcast episode that I did. My Patreon is linked in the description box below if you are interested, but there was a Patreon episode that I did on the lady who had cut off her locks and permed her hair in order to get a rich man because a dating coach or femininity coach told her to. If you're interested in that, check it out. My Patreon is in the description box below. The reason why I bring it up is because I mentioned how I kind of see hair and the various different kinds of things that Black women can do with our hair on a sort of spectrum. So on one end of the spectrum, on the far end of the spectrum, is perms and relaxers, right? And then you move slightly to the other direction, which is doing something with wigs and weaves, and specifically with straight wigs and weaves that do not reflect our hair texture. Then you can do a silk press. You can be like a silk press natural, you know what I mean? Then you can wear braids or extensions that reflect our natural hair or our natural hair texture. Then as you move down to the other side of the spectrum, you can be a loose, kinky hair natural. Like you can just wear your loose natural hair and wear it natural just like that. Or you can even cut it short. You can have like a short haircut. And then on the next, if you keep moving down the spectrum, you can have locks, different kinds of locks, regular locks, sister locks, manicured locks, the kinds of locks that you retwist consistently. And then on the complete other side of the spectrum, at the other end, are freeform locks. Black women kind of explore all different kinds of points along the spectrum, you know what I mean? And that's what I recommend for every Black girl, is to give themselves the opportunity to have a rich and full natural hair journey, trying different things along this spectrum, just so that you know that you can do it all and feel comfortable and confident in doing it all, right? The reason I mentioned it in that video is because I had never seen, usually it is just you do kind of move along the spectrum. Like at one point you perm your hair and then you do your big chop and then you try wearing lots of braids or wigs and weaves and stuff, or you try and do the silk press natural, then you start learning how to take care of your natural hair, or you might cut it short again, or you might try locks, you bounce around the spectrum. I've never seen someone go from one end of the spectrum and just zoom all the way to the polar opposite end of the spectrum. And I've never seen that before. We usually just bounce around. But I've never seen a Black woman do that before, and I've never seen a Black woman do it for such a flimsy reason. Or maybe it's important to her, but what it seemed to me to be a very flimsy reason, simply because you're doing it because someone told you that this is what you need to do for a rich man to pay attention to you. So it's just like, you're not even necessarily doing it for the man. You're doing it for the mere idea, for the mere suggestion that there might be a man at the other end, the other side of you, frying your scalp. You know what I mean? But that's neither here or there. The reason why I bring it up here is because I do think every Black woman, it could be very helpful to any girl's confidence when they give themselves the opportunity to be at all different, or even if not all points of the spectrum resonate with you, to stop at a bunch of different points on the spectrum, to learn that, to see yourself in all different kinds of forms, and to know that you can do it, know that you can do it all, and feel comfortable and confident and beautiful doing it all. And that way, you never have to feel like you have no choice but to conform to societal beauty standards. You can always choose what is most in alignment with you, what's healthiest for your hair, what's healthiest for yourself, what's in alignment with your lifestyle. You know what I mean? Give yourself a free and explorative natural hair journey. For me, I have never explored perms, and I've never really done wigs before. I have tried weaves, but wigs and perms are things I've never really explored before. But I've never really cut my hair short before, but I have done the silk press stuff. I have worn weaves and extensions. I have done the braids. I have worn my loose, kinky, natural hair, although I had very basic knowledge of it. I never really wore my afro, or just did the twist outs and done too much. I was mostly silk press most of the time. And in between silk presses, I would do like a Bantu knot twist out type of thing, and it would look all cute and whatever. I kind of wish I spent a little bit more time exploring with my loose, kinky, natural hair before locking it. But in the end of the day, locks really do suit me best. They suit me in terms of my face and the way that I look and my body and just aesthetically. But they also suit my lifestyle a lot. I kind of just like having something consistent for the next 2-3 weeks, and to not worry again about my hair until then, you know what I mean? Until I have my next wash day. But yeah, I just, you know what I mean? Like, the whole point is I want every girl to have a fun, explorative, natural hair journey. And if they decide on something they want to settle on forever, it's a well-informed decision because they've tried it all. You know what I mean? And they can feel good at any point along the spectrum and feel confident and feel beautiful. You know what I mean? Another thing that I think is really important for young Black girls and Black women to have and to experience is representation. It is so, so deeply important to see and experience Black women and girls that are like you, because we're not a monolith. It's important for you to see Black women and girls that are like you, the ones who look like you, ones who like the things that you like, the ones that have the same little quirks and stuff. You know what I mean? It's important for you to see that, so that you know that there is no one way to be a Black girl. There is no one way to be a Black woman. It's something that you simply are, and you have more than enough permission to be unapologetically you. There were times in my childhood where I felt like I had to be more Black. You know what I mean? I had to intentionally make myself more of a Black girl than I currently was by pretending to be something I'm not and pretending to like the things I don't care for and pretend to and make my body move in ways that I don't naturally want to move it, to dance and to appear a certain kind of way so that I can look and appear more of a Black girl than I was before, because I remember just my Blackness being called into question, not because I look like I'm not Black. I'm very unambiguously Black, but because of my interests and because of the way that I looked in terms of my body shape. And that's why it's so important for representation, because if I didn't see representation for Black girls like me on TV, if I didn't see it in my real life, that's what it leads to. You feeling like you have to pretend to be something that you're not, or just be alone. But it's when you see that representation, it's so helpful for you to just know that there is no one way to be a Black woman. You just are a Black woman. That's just who you are. And you could just be yourself. You could be loud, you could be quiet, you could be extroverted, introverted, confident, shy, athletic, or geeky. You can like hip hop, you can like R&B, rock, pop, punk, and everything in between, and still say that you are a proud Black girl. Representation matters so much. That's why I was so passionate about the diversity writing content. And I think that I'm ready to start bringing that back. I've been working with a sensitivity reading client, and I was just like, I really, really love this. I love this. I love that we're having these conversations. I love the story that you're working on. I love that you're asking such great questions. I love that we can take a look at this scene that you wrote and just talk through like what your intentions are with this scene, what you'd like for it to do, what I think would be really helpful in terms of keeping it in alignment with good BIPOC representation, and negotiating and seeing how we can make those changes. I love seeing the light bulbs pop up in my mind and the light bulb kind of pop up in my client's mind. I love this. So I'm ready. I think that I'm slowly considering ways to start bringing it back, to start talking more about it on my YouTube channel. I'm still definitely going to be doing the podcast most of the time, because this is the easiest way for me to show up for the YouTube algorithm gods. But I think that I'm going to start considering ways to start creating that content again, even if it's on a smaller scale, because I miss it. You know what I mean? But having those stories, seeing us on TV screens, reading about our stories in books, and just seeing other Black content creators who look like me, who have similar traits as me, it's so wonderful. And it does help build your confidence. There's something about seeing another Black woman being herself, being unapologetically herself, that makes you feel like you can do it too. Lastly, what I want to do is I've written down a list of things I would say to my younger self and all young Black women and girls out there. What would I say to you to help build your confidence? What advice would I give to you? And this is what I wrote. You are beautiful. You are beautiful. You are worthy. You are deserving of good things. You are deserving of nice things. You are deserving of good things happening in your life. You deserve to have nice people around you who treat you well and love you deeply. Black woman, you deserve good people around you who treat you well and love you deeply. This one here, I want to emphasize this. There is more to life than this. And what I mean by this is whatever stupid thing is stressing you out right now, okay? Whatever stupid thing is stressing you out right now, there is more to life than that thing. There's more to life than school. There's more to life than social media, than likes, than comments and views. There's more to life than man. Let me say that one more time so you can hear me now. There's more to life than man. There's more to life than dating. There's more to life than love and sex. There's more to life than fake friends. There's more to life than your job. There's more to life than money, than accolades, than material things. There's more to life than Black excellence. There's more to life than the church. Are we ready for that one? I don't think we're ready for that one. There's more to life than the beauty standards. There's more to life than pretty privilege. There is more to life than this. There is more to life than this. Black woman, you can create and cultivate a life that makes you truly and deeply happy. It all starts with small steps, small habits. Black woman, you can heal trauma and deep wounds. Again, it starts with baby steps and small habits. Black woman, chase your dreams, but focus your energy on enjoying the journey. Chase your dreams. And that way, even if the destination doesn't come, you can find joy on the road there and have no regrets. Black woman, you can start over whenever you want. Don't ever, ever, ever think that you're stuck. You can always start over. And Black woman, you will start over multiple times in this life. Learn to embrace it, even though it's uncomfortable. Black woman, you can forgive others while still requiring more from them. And don't let anyone ever convince you otherwise. Black woman, your people are out there and you have all the time that you need to go find them. And if you have to be alone right now, always remember to do what you have to do to be the best friend to yourself. Black woman, your body is yours. You are not a slave. You are not to be consumed. You are not to be manhandled. You are not to be put to work like a dog, pumped dry of your beautiful essence and discarded like trash. You are to be free. Free yourself. Your body is your home. Keep it healthy. Keep it safe. Don't let anyone control it. It is yours. Black woman, your worth is inherent. Don't attach it to anything. You were born worthy. Don't attach your worth to things like your hair, your body, male validation. Don't even attach your worth to things like your brain, your grades, your career, your follower count. Because if you attach your worth to other things and life takes that thing away from you, it will decimate your self-worth. Your worth is inherent. It was always there. Don't attach it to anything. You were born worthy and you will die worthy. Full stop, full stop. All right. Those are my thoughts. I hope that you enjoyed this podcast episode. I hope that it was healing to you. It was healing for me. Be sure to like, subscribe if you feel called to. And wherever you are in the world, I hope from the bottom of my heart that you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day.